In addition to his love for jazz, he also writes and produces hip-hop, rap, film music, and contemporary classical music. We're now going to hear a composition of his called The Fundamentals.
Like I mentioned earlier, like other cultures are a big influence on my music, and that's a big part of new jazz. So like especially things like Indian music, people like Ravi Shankar, you know, they have a completely different system of harmony and rhythmic concepts that they imply. So we try to imply some of that into our music. Tribal music from Africa, of course, is one of the foundations of jazz music, conceptually. So we bring that in, the study of that culture. Brazilian music, definitely, it's a huge influence.
Jazz to be is changing all the time. It's not one thing. I mean, there's people out there that say jazz is only, you know, the Blue Note 60s albums, and that's all it can be. You know, anything else newer than, you know, 1970 is not jazz. But really what jazz has always been from the beginning is new, changing, and a process of innovation. Playing other kinds of music and bringing them into jazz together, for me, that's what makes it interesting. That's what creates the liveliness and the kind of the dynamic nature of jazz.
Very interesting. I think European jazz musicians, because they are so they grew up in this classical environment. They have 300 years of Mozart, you know, Beethoven, this and that. So in a way, they're very melodic. Their lines is very classical sounding. But then for African American jazz musicians, because if you think of the African country as more tribal-ish, they're more rhythmic. In a way, you can take your own feel about this melody and phrase it a certain way to make it sound like that particular culture's song.
Whether you want to be influenced by something or not doesn't matter. Anything you hear as a musician, any sound, any type of music, whether it be Chinese pop music, American country music, Brazilian traditional music, it's going to influence you. Like, you can't stop yourself from hearing it. And then when you go to write something and play something, especially as a musician, it comes out of you. Everything you've absorbed comes out of you. So you don't really control your influences necessarily, unless you're trying to do something like somebody else. Then you're guiding it. But for the most part, it's completely divine. It's out of your control.
Thanks to Theo Croker for that excellent performance.